hearing about Frankie Swindell since his amateur days. I follow boxing a long time, and I know he's a short guy and a pretty good puncher, and he got a lot of experience in the ring. But he got to use all that to try to beat me. You know, I feel very confident, and I feel I can defeat him.
Al, the heavyweight division is a buzz. Where do these young heavyweights fit in the landscape?
Well, certainly in the case of Byrd and Grant, they're both still undefeated, and they feel like a couple of wins could get them into possible title contention, and both are facing the best of the journeyman heavyweights. There are a bunch of heavyweights who, as we would say, are on the fringe of contention. You look at this group, most of those guys have suffered losses in the last year that kind of set them back a little bit, but as you look down that list, clearly all of those guys have some talent, and the only difference between them and Byrd and Grant, they're not undefeated.
Is it the future of the heavyweight division? We'll answer some of those questions tonight. We're set for boxing to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Bally's Park Place of Atlantic City, the future home of the Wild Wild West Casino. Tonight, main events in association with your undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser present professional boxing for your entertainment on ESPN. These bouts are sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr. Let's get things started, ladies and gentlemen, with a 10-round bout. This is in the heavyweight division. This first bout is presented in association with Fight Night. The man in charge of the action when the bell rings will be referee Joe Cortez. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gold and weighing in at 224 pounds. From Nashville, Tennessee, he brings a record of 31 victories, 22 by KO, 15 losses with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the veteran Frankie Swindell. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, trimmed with silver, and weighing in at 215 pounds. From Flint, Michigan, he's ranked number 7 in the world by the WBA with a perfect record of 21-0, 12 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated Chris Byrd.
Let's take a look at the rules as governed by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board for rules and regulations.
Give me good sportsmanlike conduct. Understood? All right, shake hands.
3 knockdown rule in effect, standing 8 count in effect. Fighter may not be saved by the bell in any round. The doctor may stop the bout. 10-point must system. Accidental foul. They'll go to the scorecards after half of the rounds are completed in this bout 5. And the bell sounds to begin round number 1. Byrd, the southpaw, in the black and white. Swindell, the 33-year-old, in the black and gold. Swindell has lost 8 of his last 13. His last 2 wins in February of this year against Harry Daniels and in September of last year against Andre Crowder. Those 2 boxers combined for a 21-50 record. Crowder had lost 26 in a row.
Well, and what all that really says is Frankie Swindell is the quintessential journeyman. However, what he does do is go a long distance with many of the top heavyweights that he fights.
Take a look at the knockout ratio. Byrd has 2 first-round knockouts. The last coming in August of '94 against Max Key. That was 16 fights, 2 years and 10 months ago. Swindell has 8 first-round knockouts. The last coming in August of last year in Kentucky against a boxer named Greg Norman. Swindell also has a win against a boxer in 1993 named Bobby Jones, so Swindell has beaten some of the best golfers.
He actually has the Grand Slam of boxing, does he not? Okay.
Right now, Swindell pressing forward. 17 of Swindell's 22 knockouts have come within the first 2 rounds. Good left hand from Byrd.
Swindell is the kind of fighter who will continue to come forward pretty much no matter what until you make him stop by knocking him out or whatever.
Come on, watch the spinning, watch the spinning.
Chris, Chris Byrd is about as slick a boxer, period, as you will ever find. He is, of all things, a heavyweight. And I say that even though he's been a heavyweight for most of his pro career, because as you pointed out, he was much lighter when he won the Olympics. You and I were both there in Barcelona when he finished the silver medal in the Olympics. 165 pounds. And for Chris Byrd to move up this much in weight is extraordinary, and to be effective. And he's been effective against some fairly decent heavyweights. The Bert Coopers of the world, Levi Billups, Lionel Butler, who I mentioned Michael Grant had beaten. And yet, it's odd to see him this heavy.
This is only the second bout for Byrd outside of the state of Michigan. He's 20-0 with 11 knockouts in Michigan, in Flint, Auburn Hills, and Monroe. The only bout he had outside of Michigan was in 1995 in Virginia Beach, a second-round TKO over Frankie Hines.
Byrd just laying on the ropes. His defensive skills are extraordinary, and he has great hand speed. Does not punch big for a heavyweight, but that figures for a guy who's come up from 165.
We come to the end of round number 1. Byrd and Swindell on ESPN's Championship Boxing.
For the very best in home entertainment, the place to go is Circuit.
Part of the hospitable staff here at Bally's Park Place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. A hot dog, a little kraut, and a cold beer.
Are they bringing that to ringside for us, or what?
Lou Duva keeps on taking ours.
He's eaten. How many hot dogs has Lou Duva already eaten here? At least 3.
Chris Byrd and Frankie Swindell underway in round number 2. You take a look at some of the numbers in round 1.
Byrd landing at about 55%, in fact, exactly 55%, and that is so typical of him. Very accurate puncher, and against heavyweights, his hand speed is a terrific tool, especially a plodding heavyweight like Swindell, who, by the way, used to be a cruiserweight and a light heavyweight. We had him on ESPN years ago trying to beat Michael Moore for the WBO light heavyweight championship, and he has moved up in weight, clearly, way up in weight.
224 pounds worth. He fought Michael Moore twice. He's been in against Charles Williams, Al Cole, who we'll see in our main event, Francisco Damiani, Tony Tucker, Jeremy Williams. He's run the gamut out.
He has Samson Pahua, Herbie Hyde, Alexander Zolkin, the list goes on, Henry Akinwanda. You name a heavyweight contender, and he's seen him inside the ring. And more often than not, he's gone rounds with them. In the battle with Pahua, which he just lost in 10 rounds, he went a full 10 with him and had his moments. Of course, then Pahua lost shortly after that. Swindell working the body. And you see what Frankie Swindell gives you. He's not a loafer in the ring. He tries. He throws body shots, comes forward. He tries to make things happen.
At the weigh-in yesterday, we asked Byrd about the fact that in his last 8 bouts, he's averaging nearly 10 rounds a fight. That lack of knockout power, and he said, I'm trying to sit down on my punches a bit more, although right here you don't see evidence of it. He says, but I am not going to get knocked out trying to knock people out.
Well, of course, he is not going to match power with most of the big punching heavyweights. But you see here, even when Chris Byrd lands those really nice combinations, they're not doing much damage to Frankie Swindell, but also you see the defensive capabilities of Byrd. He reminds me of a bigger version of Michael Nunn, and when he was in the middleweight division, he reminded me of Michael Nunn when he was an amateur.
Chris Byrd says it's been very difficult as you see him rip off a combination, getting bouts because of his style, which is really not common in the heavyweight division, A, and B, because he's a southpaw.
You don't see too many southpaws in this division. The big question will be when Byrd faces a pretty big puncher who has the skills to really hit him.
He says he would like a Witherspoon, a Bellotta, or a Mercer, but it's Swindell pressing here at the end of round 2. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds. Chris Byrd and Frankie Swindell on ESPN's Championship Boxing. Parkway. We begin round number 3 of the scheduled 10-round bout. Chris Byrd in the black and silver. Frankie Swindell in the black and gold. Swindell, 33 years of age, from Nashville, Tennessee. Take a look at the jabs through 2 rounds.
Byrd doing a spectacular job, and Frankie Swindell, well, obviously less than a spectacular job with his jab. Of 82 of Swindell's 89 punches, in round 2 were non-jabs. They threw 7 jabs in that round. And we see that Byrd winning the battle in jabs. He always has to win that battle if he's going to win as a heavyweight.
The amazing thing is Swindell has not landed one yet.
That's pretty extraordinary, yes.
Chris Byrd with father Joe Byrd in his corner as his trainer, and his mom Rose.
His dad, of course, was the coach of the 1992 Olympic team, in which his son won a silver medal.
There's some power from Chris Byrd with a couple of good left hands.
He bats Swindell up.
Byrd has never recorded a third-round knockout. Swindell has 2. 17 of Swindell's 22 knockouts have come within the first 2 rounds.
Byrd debuted at 169 pounds in 1993 as a pro, and 14 months later he was up to 193. And earlier this past year, he weighed at 218, a career high. So he has consistently gone up in weight. Now there's the moves of Byrd that make him so difficult to fight. I'm sure Chris Byrd would say that my next comment is inappropriate because he's winning as a heavyweight. Me personally, I can't imagine why he didn't stop at cruiserweight or light heavyweight and try and win a couple of titles and then move up to the heavyweight division. But he'll certainly make me eat my words if he gets in against some contender or a champion and ends up winning the title.
The problem with this awkward style is that against a lighter hitting guy like Swindell, you know, he can take some of these shots and circle. What happens if a Galata hits him?
Well, that's exactly the point. If some of these body shots are coming, there's Swindell getting a couple of nice right hands in. And Byrd lays on the rope so much, he would be more effective if he stayed in the center of the ring more often. But see, he's not as quick on his feet as a heavyweight as he was at the lighter weights.
Right now, here in round number 3, Frankie Swindell pressing Chris Byrd. One scheduled for 10.
Yes, sir. That's my baby. No.
Opens the first themed casino in Atlantic City, and they'll have the Ray Mercer, Andrew Galata bout along with Pernell Whitaker on the card on the 16th of August, and a lot of final touches being prepared here at Bally's.
Yeah, that casino will sponsor that at the convention center. There are the punches in round 3. Swindell had the edge in power punches, or non-jabs, if you want to say. In this case, not a lot of power being generated. 28-1, Swindell with the edge in non-jabs. So you could make a case for giving him that round.
At the end of round 3, both boxers able to exchange some punches, maybe the best punches of the bout.
Swindell pressured Byrd pretty well in that last round. By the way, you mentioned that Witherspoon Galata, but that is one, or Mercer Galata, that is one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that should be a very good and entertaining affair. And there is Joe Byrd, the father of Chris Byrd, and his trainer.
Put that same punch up and down. Raise that punch and make him count.
As you look at Joe Byrd and listen to him, he wants his son in the center of the ring. This is not where he wants him. They told him in between rounds, don't lay there so you can hit your gloves, and his son listens to him, gets off those ropes, and gets back to the center of the ring where that jab is so effective for him.
What about the southpaw against the righty? This is a perfect angle.
Well, Frankie Swindell should have his left foot outside the right foot of Byrd. You see he's not doing it. Byrd is moving just enough to his right so he can get a good punching angle. When Bird's right foot is on the outside, he can land the jab, the straight left hand, whatever he wants.
Good work by producer Rob Bonner and director Lenny Stucker to get us that shot. Good body shot by Byrd. Round 4 sort of drift gripping to a conclusion.
Better round for Byrd because he didn't languish on the ropes.
Round number 4 coming to its conclusion. Back with round 5 after this timeout. The black and silver against Frankie Swindell. In the black and gold in a scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout. And now we'll take a look at some jabs in round 4.
As we see the number, Byrd throwing 45 jabs. Now, juxtapose this against the fact that the average heavyweight throws 45 to 50 total punches per round. So you see Byrd making good use of that punch. Those statistics courtesy of our friends at Comedy Box, as always, Punch Pro Fun. Men that manned the keys, Logan Hobson and Bob Canopio. God forbid we shouldn't get their mention in.
There is Rose Byrd, Chris Byrd's mom, who also works his corner, part of the Battling Byrds.
I like that, the Battling Byrds. That's very good. They have been involved in boxing, the whole family, both amateur and pro, for a long time, and all delightful people, including Chris, who is really a delightful guy. You see, off the ropes, it is interesting because Chris Byrd is a good fighter off the ropes, but you really don't want him to get in the habit of doing this because of what you said, Bob. Against the really better heavyweights, when he steps up, he's not going to be able to do this. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. Ali did it in his day, of course, to rope it up, but I don't know that Chris Byrd would be able to do it against some really good guys.
Ali had power.
Oh, some, yes. Certainly more than Chris Byrd. And also he would use it simply as a ploy and then get away and do his punching in the center of the ring. Byrd is doing it and actually making it the place where he tries to make something happen offensively. Ali was just covering up and making guys get tired. Look at how low Byrd's hands are, and yet Swindell unable to take advantage.
Chris told us yesterday that versus a lot of Witherspoon, the people he has in mind, I'm just trying to superimpose either of any of those three in Frankie Swindell's place, and I don't know how Byrd would keep any of them off.
Well, the difference is they would be throwing jabs coming in, too. I mean, all those guys you mentioned, Galata, Mercer, Witherspoon, all having superb jabs. They would use that to set up other punches against Byrd. Swindell's not doing that.
Final 10 seconds of round 5. This is the midway point of the bout. Chris Byrd out of Flint, Michigan, and Nashville's Frankie Swindell on ESPN's Championship Boxing.
Well, not much of a crowd here. Drive.
Scheduled 10-round bout in the heavyweight division. Chris Byrd out of Flint, Michigan. Quite a hotbed for professional athletes. Carl Banks, Andre Rison, Mark Ingram, football players, Glenn Rice of the NBA, all from Flint.
Good, obviously a great breeding ground for terrific athletes, and Chris Byrd doing his part, especially tonight, landing 55% of his punches.
Take a look at Al's scorecard.
I have got Chris Byrd pitching shutout. And I know one guy that was not shut out of good golf shots this past week at the Buick Westchester Classic. My partner, Bob Papa, did us proud on the links as one of the celebrities in that tournament. Bob, how did you do? Tell us how you golfed.
Had a very good day with Kevin Burton, a rookie on the PGA Tour. How about Ernie Els? He wins the U.S. Open last week. And Chris Byrd starts to pour it on here in round 6. And after 2 rounds, he leads the Buick Westchester, defending his title after winning it last year.
Very good. So, and who are some of the other celebrities on hand there?
Jerry Orbach, the actor.
Very good. Law and Order.
Matt Lauer of Today's Show. And Jimmy Roberts, our own ESPN golf expert, was there as well.
And you held up the end of ESPN boxing, and I'm confident, without being there, I'm confident you were the best shot maker among the celebrities. I just know that.
All I know is Jimmy Roberts' group finished in 3rd place. So congratulations to Jimmy.
Frankie Swindell is still trying to pressure Chris Byrd. And there is a cut now on the left eye of Chris Byrd. Might have come from a clash of heads or possibly a right hand by Swindell. They've been banging heads a lot in there. And we'll have to find out from Joe Cortez whether that was from a clash of heads, which would mean they might go to the scorecard. Chris Byrd saying, I was butted.
As most boxers will make the claim.
Well, butter or not, we know one thing. Most of our ringside accessories, up to and including my shirt, now is splattered with blood.
And now Joe Cortez will send Chris Byrd to his corner to take a look at that cut on the eyelid.
That's a nasty one. This could be very serious if Joe Cortez doesn't rule it was a clash of heads.
Yeah, let him roll. All right, time in.
And here's where it becomes important for Chris Byrd. If that is not from a clash of heads, he's not a knockout puncher, is he?
No.
So he's not likely to go after Swindell and get a knockout. He's going to have to hang in there, and they'll have to stop that cut from bleeding if it was not caused from a clash of heads.
And it's Frankie Swindell pressing the action here in round 6. We come to the end of round 6, and let's follow Chris Byrd back to his corner as they work on the cut.
Come here, right in with his head. You got to spin. Come straight in with his head.
As they work on the cut of Chris Byrd, we've been informed that it was a clash of heads. So if this fight were stopped due to that cut, they would end up going to the scorecards.
Now, what are some of the things they're using to treat it?
Well, let's take a look first at how that cut came about. There is the clash of heads, and that looks like the place where it ended. They're using coagulant, and they're also using a lot of pressure. The key to closing this cut is constant pressure throughout, and then putting the medicine on it.
Round number 7 underway, and the intensity of this bout has changed a little bit because Frankie Swindell, no pun intended, smells blood. He's pushing Chris Byrd.
Except he's in a difficult position. If this fight is stopped because of the cut, they'll go to the scorecards. And I don't know. The question is he in a position where he can win it that long?
Take a look at the numbers in round 6.
Frankie Swindell had himself a better round, certainly, than he did before. And he might be in a position to have won that one. See, Byrd is letting him get his head right in there by laying on the ropes still. Very little on those punches from Byrd on the inside. That is an awful gash on the right eye and left eye of Chris Byrd. I mean, that's a bad, bad cut that could easily halt this fight. Now, Joe Cortez did give us the indication it was a clash of heads, but he didn't give a real strong indication anywhere else. I'm assuming the corners do know that. They know that it's a clash of heads and they would go to the scorecard if this was stopped.
Good uppercut inside by Swindell.
Oh, he got hurt with that straight left hand. If I was Chris Byrd, I'd set down all my punches right now and see what I could do with this young man.
Byrd has one 7th-round knockout in his career. All 22 of Swindell's stoppages have come within the first 6 rounds.
You have to do a lot to discourage Frankie Swindell. and bigger punchers than Chris Byrd have failed to do so. Now, Byrd is doing well in this round in terms of numbers of punches landed. But Swindell has had his moments as well.
And this style of Byrd, leaning against the ropes, as Byrd fires off the left hand, would lead itself to flashes of heads, always allowing his opponent to come in on him.
You're right. What's missing from Chris Byrd is what we saw when he was in a lighter weight. Moving around the center of the ring, getting angles to throw those punches. You don't see that now as heavyweight. There's the hand speed, though. He's still got that.
Swindell says he's not hurt. We come to the end of round 7. 3 more to go. Chris Byrd not only battling Swindell, but a bad cut over the left eye.
We look at the punches in round 7, Byrd having a very good round 7, landing at 58%. And at the end of the round, he had Swindell going backwards as he does now, and on the outside. See, when he's in the center of the ring, Chris Byrd is completely in control of this fight. He backs himself up against the ropes and decides to counterpunch from that posture. Swindell now facing him as a lefty. And Swindell has been known to switch from time to time. We saw him do that years ago when we saw him against Michael Moore, also a lefty. Now we should remind our viewers that even though that's a bad cut, it was caused by a clash of heads, and if they had to stop this bout, they would go to the scorecard. And this is what I have on my scorecard, though it certainly is anything but official. I've got Byrd ahead 68-65.
Rounds 3 and 6 given to Swindell. Don't forget our main event, the IBC Heavyweight Championship. Michael Grant against Alfred Ice Cole. Plus, we'll take a look at the Holyfield-Tyson rematch. Midway point of round 8.
Get some predictions from some folks on what might happen on the 28th. Byrd from the outside, he can land what he wants. And Frankie Swindell has slowed down quite a bit. He is tired. Frankie not in the greatest of condition. He's way up in weight from where we saw him when he was, I think, in his best condition.
Byrd using that jab and keeps the fight in the middle of the ring, and Swindell can't get close.
Oh, there's nothing that Frankie Swindell can do against Byrd when Byrd is not laying on those ropes. At 33, Swindell is very much a journeyman, and this is what he does. He hangs in there, and most of the time, he's able to throw punches and be effective in portions of fights, and that's really what he's done here in this bout. Not enough, I don't think, to be ahead or have a good shot at a decision win, but has still had a few good moments. And there's Byrd now, backing himself against the ropes and deciding he wants to fight off those ropes.
Final seconds of round number 8. 2 more rounds to go. Chris Byrd and Frankie Swindell on ESPN's Championship Boxing.
In 1977,
Now we get a timeout by referee Joe Cortez.
Come on, give the scissors. Give me the scissors.
And they're going to cut some of the tape off the gloves
Just cut this tape right there. Just cut it right
of
there.
Swindell.
All right, it's all right. I got it. Let's go.
They just take off the extra tape. White gauze-like tape that they use when it gets wet, it tends to unravel.
An extraordinary statistic in the last round. Frankie Swindell landed 1 of 23 punches. That's it. Byrd landed 34 of 56. Vinny Pazienza in round 5 of his fight against Jones landed no punches against Roy Jones Jr. So Swindell does not get the record because, and no one will ever be able to do more than tie the record with Pazienza. Is there a way they can land negative punches? I don't think so. I think so.
Byrd using his jab when he uses it. He uses it effectively.
Well, he is a very stylish southpaw boxer. The problem is he's up in a weight division where he doesn't move as good as he did at smaller weights, and he doesn't pack, really, I don't think, enough power against the really good heavyweights. So, of course, my theory is that just about everybody should be fighting in the cruiserweight division as they come up. Somebody said to me the other day, it's as if you want George Foreman to lose about 40 pounds and get down in that division, but that's not true. I just think the smaller heavyweights ought to try it.
Well, you see there, Byrd with his jab and then straight left hands that land flush, and Swindell does not budge.
And therein lies the problem in the future for Chris Byrd. And I know people have harped on this before during his fights, and his answer, I'm sure, is, hey, say whatever you want, I keep winning, and I'm beating the same journeyman heavyweights that other people have beaten to get to where they want to go. The Burt Coopers, the Levi Billups, the Lionel Butlers, Jeff Woodens, Phil Jacksons, Arthur Williams, who was a cruiserweight himself. That's the same kind of guys people have beaten, so why would you say my wins are any less against them? And I guess the only reason to say that is he just doesn't look like he's going to have enough power to contend with the big heavyweights, and maybe we won't know until he's there against them.
Byrd suffered a cut along the left eye in round number 6. Referee Joe Cortez told us that it was due to a clash of heads. Here's another left hand from Byrd and another left hand, and Swindell just laughs at him. Make no mistake, Al, you and I both have Byrd comfortably ahead.
Yes, he is. He's winning this fight rather handily. And these are the kind of fights that beg the kind of analysis we've been giving to it, because let's face it, these are the fights that are leading a Chris Byrd to a contender.
Final seconds of round 9, the 10th and final round to come after this time out on ESPN's Championship Boxing.
Some punches by Byrd.
10th and final round underway. Chris Byrd and Frankie Swindell.
You mentioned that 20 of Byrd's 21 fights have come in Michigan. Most of those at the Palace in Auburn Hills. He's been there more often than some Pistons, I think, who were injured last year.
Yeah, like Rick Mahorn.
He probably has participated more than Mahorn has at the Palace.
We saw Chris Byrd here on ESPN last May in Monroe. He was able to get a decision win. Al, your scorecard after 9 rounds.
Well, no question, Chris Byrd is dominating this fight, and I have him at 88, 83. Frankie Swindell just playing out the string in this bout, really, at this juncture. He'll have another rough-going performance against another heavyweight prospect, and Frankie will have another loss.
Swindell has lost 8 of his last 13.
There was a time when Swindell in the light heavyweight division was considered excellent, and we had him at that point when he fought Michael Moore in 1989.
Coming up in our main event, Al Ice Cold of Spring Valley, New York, will compete for the IBC Heavyweight Championship, going through his final preparations. Former Cruiserweight champion. There's that word again, Cruiserweight.
Let's go. And some would say, probably me included, that maybe Al Cole's venture into the heavyweight division is ill-advised, though he did perform fairly well, even in losing to Tim Witherspoon.
At least he had a 4-year reign as Cruiserweight champion.
Exactly, yes. And so that, in the Al Bernstein theory of whether you should be a heavyweight, that makes him eligible. I'm sure all the heavyweights in the world can't wait to see whether I think they're eligible to be heavyweights. That's what they all live for, knowing.
Good job by the corner of Chris Byrd, his dad, Joe, for doing a good job of stopping the blood flow on that bad cut along the left eyelid of Chris Byrd.
Yeah, now that came from a flash of that, so it wouldn't have cost him the fight, but yeah, extraordinarily good cut work. Swindell getting a couple of right hands and some hooks. Frankie Swindell, where did he find this energy? And while he's getting whacked by Byrd with good straight left hands.
Looks like Swindell is running out of time, though. Only 20 seconds left in the bout. About controlled, really from start to finish, by the 26-year-old Flint, Michigan native Chris Byrd.
And make no mistake, he did what he needed to do here, and then some. And look at him now, whacking Frankie Swindell. Those are good punches. They're not hurting Frankie Swindell.
Final seconds of the bout. Byrd and Swindell. There is the bell. Referee Joe Cortez steps in. Chris Byrd says, huh? Frankie Swindell says, get me some ice. We'll have the decision after this timeout on ESPN's Championship Boxing from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Get ready for something delicious.
Chris Byrd looking to run his record to 22-0. You see that cut over the left eye. We'll take a look at some of the final numbers, Al.
Steve Aiden, what's up? Give me a call, man.
For Chris Byrd and Frankie Swindell, a 57% landing percentage. For Byrd, anything over 50 is extraordinary, and Byrd closed the show with 44 of 65 connects in that last round, so he did the job.
I'll be back, baby.
And we are set for the decision. Here is our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Valley Park Place, we go to the scorecards. Dipper Barnes has it 99-91. Melvina Lathan scores at 98-92. And the other score is 98-91 for the winner by unanimous decision, still undefeated from Flint, Michigan, Chris Byrd.
No big surprise, Chris Byrd runs his record to 22-0, a unanimous decision for the 26-year-old over Frankie Swindell.
Well, he did what he needed to do in here and dominated most of the rounds and did what Chris Byrd always does against the better fighters or the better tournament. He won by decision.
Don't forget our main event still to come, Michael.